Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I just caught this, well in fact I've just seen this video here from JGigs, who is reacting to a video from WIZ Gaming. Is PLARIUM actually doing good things for free to play? And I've got some pretty strong opinions on this topic. And I know that people think that the game is heavily pay to win, all that sort of stuff. And there's some areas where I totally agree. But I'm interested to see what the narrative is here, because I think doing things like the free-to-play challenges and, you know, understanding how the game's evolved over the last 5 years, I'm curious to see what the conversation is here. So we're going to check it out and, yeah, I guess get involved.
Hey everybody, what's going on? We are reacting to another video today. After Colred's video, Wizard D Gaming reached out to me and sent me a link to his video that he made that's sort of another conversation about things that PLARIUM is doing, and asked for my take on it. So I thought, again, it would be interesting for us to just watch it together for the first time and talk about it live. So I will link him down below. He is closing in on 2,000 subscribers, which is really dope. So be sure.
Good job. Good job.
Go show him some love. The video is called PLARIUM is Doing Great Things for Free to Play. So a little bit of a different tone than the last reaction video. I'm interested to hear the takes, because in some ways I probably will not disagree, and in other ways I might. So let's see what the conversation.
I've got to say, I quite like JGigs when he does a reaction video, because I think he's got quite a measured react. Like, even though there's tons of stuff that he hates about Raid, and he's pretty vocal about that, he also really enjoys parts of the game, and he will give an honest view. So I quite like these.
Conversation is exactly here. Wizard D.
Hi friends, WIZ here. Welcome to a new Raid Shadow Legends video. This might not be a popular opinion, but in all fairness, I think that PLARIUM really did a good job this year of catering to free-to-play and new players in the game. We'll talk today about why I think so, with details.
Free-to-play and new players. Okay. Because they have a tendency, one of the complaints over the years has been their emphasis on whales and new players. And it's everybody that's in between that's kind of like, what about us, right? So I think there's a distinction there. I think that there's a lot of things for new players that are also good for free-to-play. But I think if we're talking about free-to-play as a sector of the community, those aren't necessarily the same thing.
I think what's interesting here as well is I also recently saw a video from Ash where he was saying, like, Raid are doubling down and it's getting, like, insane right now in the opposite direction. So that's why I was really curious about this one, actually.
So we'll see where we're going with this.
That maybe I'm ass-kissing to PLARIUM to get into the content creators program. I would say yes only if it works. Yeah, let's talk about the details now. So the first good thing that they have done, in my opinion, they gave you promo codes to get, and this is my free-to-play, it's less than 6 months into the game, that's why I'm using it to explain. So they gave you promo codes to get Monkey King, Wukong, one of the strongest champions that they released for free. So they just gave you the promo code to get it.
They did do that. I think it's Monkey King, right? But if I'm not mistaken, that's just for new players. I think that's a first 48 hours promo code, which again is really cool of them to do that. Sun Wukong is fantastic for any account. And if you happen to be a new player or happen to be starting a new account and are also going to be free to play, then I guess technically yes, it's a benefit for free to play. But again, I don't think this applies to anybody that's free to play. I might be wrong. I can't remember if that's a limited promo code or like a new account.
No, he's right. It's one of the new player promo codes. Like within, I think it's actually 72 hours, not 48. But I don't know. Like, how long do people generally play? Like, let's not think about the hardcore player for a second. How long before someone really gets into a game that is not used to this type of game? I think it's probably more than 72 hours, and I think a lot of players potentially either roll again or are not that into it to even be fussed. I do think a lot of the new players, like those new player promo codes that are existing, I think they should just be like, it's a one-off thing without the time limit. Because I do think eventually, if someone really enjoys the game, eventually that's when they start digging. And obviously we've got all those codes on hellhades.com. And that's when they'll go and try and find them and either be really disappointed that they missed it, or they're lucky enough that they got it in time.
Count, or if everyone got to use that one. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone got to use the ninja one.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if he'll bring up here. Which on one hand you could look at and go, that was a really cool move of them to just bring ninja back with a promo code. But it's hard to give them credit for that when it's a problem they created. I don't know that you deserve the same type of credit for creating a problem and then solving it later.
I actually disagree with that. I think having the ninja promo code come back, I think it was a good thing. I know that people are pissed off if they played the game for ages. It's like, what did I get? Ultimately, like, giving some form of catch-up mechanics to players that are now coming in is essential, because other players that have played the game for a year or more, they're just, their accounts are so far more advanced.
If you don't know Ninja, they did a collab with Ninja and they put him in the game. He's one of the best free champs they've ever given. And then when his event ended, he was out of the pool and there was no way to get him anymore. So if you didn't have Ninja already, then you just were never going to have Ninja. And this bothered a lot of people because, again, he's really good. He's really good at a lot of different things. So
yeah,
there's a pretty easy solution to that problem too. Summoner's War does it. Summoner's War does crossovers with a lot of different IPs. One of their more popular ones is Street Fighter. So during the Street Fighter event, you can pull Ryu and Ken and Dalzim and Chun-Li and all these cool Street Fighter champs, right? And they've all got their own unique kits. And then when the Street Fighter event is over, they then introduce the Summoner's War versions of the Street Fighter characters. So they have the same kits, they're just not the Street Fighter characters, because that's really where the fun is, right? The fun part was pulling Ryu during a Street Fighter event. But when the Street Fighter characters are taken out of the summon pool, they are replaced with true to the game versions that have the same kit.
I actually came up with a similar idea. Like so I didn't expect Ninja to ever come back. I was like, why don't they just put a Ninja character in the game, like his twin brother, and call him something else? I can't remember what the name was I said now, actually. But anyway, that's by the by. I do agree, especially when a champ is so unique, like Ninja is. But then you've got some of these other like Monster Hunter ones, which I don't think will ever come back because that was all based on a deal, unless they redo the deal. Like with Ninja, they redid the deal. That's how we were able to put Ninja back into the game. I do kind of agree with it, but then it's like you'd still get the same 50-50. You'd get the people that are pissed that, well, I've already got Ninja, so what do I get now? And then you get the people that are happy that it's like, well, I've now got a chance to get this kind of like other replication of Ninja,
It's just a different skin, basically, right? So when the Ninja event ended, all they had to do was put someone in the pool that exactly had Ninja's kit.
Yeah, it can work. Yeah,
and that's it. Problem solved. You know what I'm saying? So,
but with that, are you saying though? Bear in mind, everyone else got Ninja for free. Are you like the proper way to do it if you want to please people or the free to players is create a challenge line or a mission line that those people could go and earn him. That I think that would be the more fun way to do it. But I agree in premise. If you just put him in the pool, we've got a pool of like, 900 champs now. I think 150 or something legendaries. It's still so short odds to actually get them.
It was kind of an easy one to solve. And then I still don't know if they've solved it. Unless the Ninja promo code that they put out is permanent and anybody can use it at any time.
Yeah,
I still don't even know if they've solved the problem. I don't remember if they put Ninja like in the summon pool officially or what. Yeah. But was it cool of them to just give everyone a code to have him? Yeah, that's super dope. But it's sort of a solution to a problem they created. So I don't even know if I'll talk about Ninja.
I started this account
I thought it was worth mentioning
earlier, and I chose Deacon, so I couldn't pick a Wukong. But if I knew about it, I would have pegged him. Second thing is that they brought back something that we've all been asking for so long. They brought us back Ninja. Yeah. So everyone can have Ninja on his account.
Which is, it's super great to be able to have Ninja.
Probably the strongest free login champion. There is a debate between him, Artak, and Wukong. But yeah, so only in the last 6 months, they gave you for free 2 of the strongest free login champions.
It's coming
without.
I think the login champions in general have been one of the best moves that they've done for that like free-to-play community. Draw players in, not even just free-to-play community, like just bring in new players in. You bring them in with a legendary, it works really well. And we see on the website a spike of new players every time they do one of these free 7-day logins.
Not doing anything, you just log into the game and you just get them. The third thing that they have done really well here is that they gave you for free Loki, a champion that's very useful for everyone inside the game. And better than just giving you the champion, they gave you, if you just play for a couple of weeks after getting him, his 5-star soul, which would work awesomely because you'll give him accuracy anywhere. You'll be landing brimstone left and right.
This one I would say I pretty much hard agree with. I think this was a good chase. I think I appreciated the wiggle room. That's one of the things we talked about in the last part of the last conversation in Coleridge's video was the lack of wiggle room they tend to give us in things like this. I don't remember if they always give us this much. I think the last one of these they did was Adeline, and I think most of us probably don't remember the details about the Adeline.
I'm pretty sure, because I wasn't sure how it was going to work. It was easy. That every time they've done this so far, where they're doing this a freebie, and then they've extended it into another phase, which I think is brilliant, by the way. I think this is great work. It's been easy.
Adeline chase, because it was pretty uneventful. She's not great, I don't think, but yeah, Loki's really cool. And I appreciated the wiggle room in this. If I had one nitpick about the Loki chase, it's that they could have just put pinpoint gear in it instead of perception. But like, you know what I mean? Whatever. It's fine. He's a really cool champ and pretty easy access to a 5-star soul. And for an example of like how impactful that is, he's the only 5-star soul I have in my account.
Yeah, a 5-star soul is huge. I mean, someone like Loki, for me, I think he kind of like fits in later game niche stuff rather than he's just this great person to have on your account. You know, if I think about Ultimate Death Knight, Artak, Wukong, the amount of videos I was doing where I was like, try him like this, do it like this. Like, I don't feel the same with Loki. But again, that's just like kit design. You know, out of all of the Asgard ones, I think he's by a long way the one I would least want as a freebie. But, you know, people playing the game, making the game, they're trying to give us tools really to help us with Hydra, or help players get further on with Hydra so they can start to get that going, because Hydra's still one of their kind of like crowning achievements, I think, in their mind in terms of game modes. And it's definitely becoming that, honestly. It's now one of the more engaging game modes they've got.
Of any of the champs that I'm actually using. Maybe aside from Azure, maybe. All I know is he's at the top. When I load up my roster, he's at the top. He's my only legendary with a 5-star soul. Maybe I should.
All right, think how much I spend on this game, which is a lot more than the average player. You know, 5-star souls. I've got. Can I filter by Ascension? No. Yeah, I mean, I've got some, but not a lot. I've got, you know, a handful on my account, and I've bought some souls. I don't buy tons of souls, but I bought one here, and I've also saved points to like level them up in places. But you know, you can see here I've got a handful. One of them being Loki. Some of them that I've got are ones that I earn rather than the ones that I've pulled. But yeah, it's definitely difficult to do that, and massively impactful to do that as well.
I should say, again, aside from Adeline, who doesn't count as far as I'm concerned. They're rare. They're hard to come by. So to give you pretty easy access to him with some wiggle room, because I missed a few days for sure, and I finished it a few days early. So there was a lot of wiggle room in there. So yeah, definitely deserves some credit for that. And if I'm not mistaken, it was improved from previous chase events. So yeah, the chase events are pretty dope.
Amazing. I might even prioritize maxing Loki on this account only for the 5-star soul. I might also add a fourth thing, Joe. I don't have it on the account because of when I started, but they gave us Wixwell almost like 6 months ago now, or maybe a little bit more. But Wixwell is a strong champion that enabled everyone, if you have the right gear, to 1-key Ultra Nightmare clan boss. Wixwell's fusion was a little bit tough. I failed to do it on this account because it was too early. I mean, it was probably.
I would say, like, saying they gave us Wixwell is not accurate, but fusions can be a game changer for your account. I mean, on my free to play, I showed how you can pick up fusions without tons of prep, but obviously fusions generally, like, anyone can do a fusion. I know I get loads of comments saying, no, that's not possible. Anyone can do a fusion if you manage resources and don't get FOMO'd in on everything else. So it's either playing Raid Fusion Legends or it's playing Raid Shadow Legends. Like, you play one of the two if you're a free-to-player, especially if you're earlier into the game, and you can do any fusion in the game. 100%. I've done it tons of times. I've shown it tons of times, but you have to be really active. You have to work on building your teams at the right time. You have to push different areas of content like Doom Tower and Faction Wars. You have to save your shards. Like, there's all these, you have to save your gems. Like, all of these things have to happen if you want to be a fusion player. And anyone who says they can't do it is because you're just not saving your resources enough, or you're not understanding the game well enough to build your teams and stuff. But yeah, some of these fusions that come along massively change your game, and it's making those choices of the ones you're going to pick up. And Wixwell, honestly, like, when we first saw his kit and first play tested him, didn't realize he was going to be as effective as he was. I got inspired, I think, by Bronco doing a Hydra, and I was like, let me try this on Clan Boss, and suddenly I created the Wixwell team. Come on. But yeah, I mean, now it's probably the most used Clan Boss team in the game, I'd imagine.
4 weeks into the game, but they are giving us now Thor Fusion.
Yeah, I think Wixwell. That's a tricky one too, because I do think I remember that fusion being particularly difficult to finish. I am free to play, and I did finish it, so really, there's something to be said for that. And I think Wixwell might be. I think there's an argument to be made for Wixwell being perhaps the most valuable fusion we've ever had. I think, because if you get Wixwell, you pretty much have a one-key Clan Boss team.
He's up there. It's hard. So I think Helicath, basically the same as Wixwell, but then it's hard not to bring Newt into that conversation, because, okay, he doesn't give you the Clan Boss stuff. He gives you everything else. So, but yeah, definitely up there.
It's not very hard to build, and you don't really need anything else on the team that you don't have reasonable access to. Yeah. It is perhaps the most account-changing fusion we've ever had. Because
actually, if I think about now the Wixwell Yannicka teams that are happening in Hydra, maybe he is the most impactful, because it's also allowing people to do crazy stuff in Hydra.
As hitting Ultra Nightmare and Nightmare Clan Boss every day is probably the most important thing for you to do in the game. My ability to participate in events and fusions and do anything that I want to do in this game skyrocketed after I built my Wixwell Clan Boss team. After that got sorted, it was over. Like I'm playing such a different game now. I pulled Ancients for the first time this morning in a while, but I was up to 225 Ancients. I think I'm still sitting on like 12 Sacreds. I was at 20 Sacreds a few days ago. The amount of shards and skill tomes that come your way when you can do that is hard to emphasize until you experience it. So yeah, putting Wixwell in the game, making him a fusion, giving everyone access. Well, I don't know if they gave everyone access to him. He said he wasn't able to do it because his account was a little too new. And I think there was a couple moments. I think I had to get a little crafty in finishing that fusion. I feel like I do remember it being kind of tough. But again, I was free to play and I was able to do it. So there's a case to be made for it. Now, I will say, I don't know if I think PLARIUM knew how impactful Wixwell was going to be.
Definitely not. I actually think it's a great point. I actually think they made his shield scale differently from Brogni on purpose, because they didn't think it was going to be that strong. And it turned out to be insane once people started to understand it.
A good argument to be made for the fact that they do not test their game very intensely. The content creators have the test server and they get to do stuff a few days early. But I don't think PLARIUM is using that for necessarily testing bugs and stuff. Bugs/wild imbalances. Now, they haven't taken it away. So they deserve some credit for that, because they have been known to release something not knowing the impact it's going to have, and then have to make adjustments to it post-release, which creates a lot of
Emic was a good example of that.
Creates a lot of problems. So they haven't taken it away. I guess they deserve some credit for that. Wixwell, I would have to agree, was pretty impactful. Maybe the most impactful thing ever for free to play. It's such a game changer.
Fusion at the time of this
So yeah,
recording.
and then apparently
Thor
Thor's really
Fusion,
good
Thor
too.
would be very strong in helping your account everywhere.
I mean, honestly, I thought so. Maybe it goes in a different direction soon because I want to get on to talking about some of the other stuff aside from fusions and free champions. The free champions, I think, definitely up there. Fusions, you have to play to do fusions. But I think there's a lot more actually that he's not talking about so far that really benefit free to players if they like this type of game.
And we got surprised that they lowered the points for the summoning events, especially
True.
the first one. Thor Fusion.
That's true too. I did notice that this fusion up to the end felt much easier. I think I commented a few times throughout the fusion that it seemed really easy, but then around the end, I feel like it's always a dungeon divers on the back end of a fusion.
Yeah, dungeon
that
divers suck.
drains my gems. I can, like, especially with Thor, I got through the first part of it without really having to spend any resources that weren't refilling. And then the dungeon divers cost me, a couple grand in gems. But yeah, pretty easy. Pretty easy fusion. We're apparently a good champ.
And the players I know was way easier than we thought it should be for a champion that's going to be strong everywhere, PvP and PvE.
True.
I'm really excited to get Thor on this account, and I had a pleasant surprise. Like, if you see here, I'm almost done with the fusion at the time of this recording, and I didn't even dig deep into my gems.
Where's my rat chooses right now to be thirsty?
Giving us such a strong fusion with low requirements, relatively, I would say, that's really an awesome move from PLARIUM. So within just a few months, they're giving you 3 or 4 good champions with soul stones, and these are not even events that require you investing much energy or summons into the next, except for Thor because he's a fusion, of course, but you get my point. So yes, we complain about the monetization strategy, the prism charts and everything. What part of what I'm talking about here was actually inspired by this recent video from Nubraid, just asking people on his channel how they are feeling about raid, whether it's positive or negative.
Nub talked about this. So Nub did a reaction to my video, to Coleridge's video, and he talked about this poll. It would be really interesting to see him do this poll again, because this was before the situation going on right now with the summit event at the end of the fusion. It'd be interesting to see if the numbers were much different.
So that's what made me think about all of these recent things that PLARIUM have done just to boost the free-to-players accounts without doing anything. Just log into the game, play and enjoy playing, and then you'll get those awesome champions with their soul stones and stuff. Again, we still have some negative comments about it, but it's a big game, and I think they are doing way better this year catering to free-to-player and early accounts than what they have done last year, for example.
But I'm not someone who really thinks that we should be labeling free to play versus people that pay in the game. I don't really care. It's literally a case of how do you want to play the game and what do you want to do to enjoy the game? And I think it's more about people that are playing the game. Are there available resources to you to enjoy the game and play it for as long as you want to play it? And I think one of the dangers of all the things they're doing for me, because I think there's a ton in the game now which really benefits all players, right? There's just loads more game modes, which means there's a chance to earn, bad example, sorry. There's a chance to earn just more stuff as you play the game, chance to earn more stuff. Doom Tower, Curse City, obviously the clan bosses, faction wars, there's just more things in the game where you can play and earn rewards, which therefore means no matter what type of player you are, you can get more stuff. Advanced quests, forge passes, the forge in general, clan quests, clan shop, bastion shop. There's just tons of different things in the game now. The opportunity to earn a free shard for this type of stuff, if you decide to do it. All of these things are in the game which have been added, which weren't there before. And so as a free-to-player or any player, there's more stuff that you can do. Therefore, there's more stuff you can get. The biggest problem is comparison for free-to-players, right? So I don't know if my game's going to be loading well today. No, it's not. Take the Odin thing that's just ended. Because you're in a group where you cannot beat the next guy, That's the mental problem in this type of game. It's always a comparison, me versus the next guy. And if you drop that, by the way, you'll probably have a bigger enjoyment of the game. Just play it to your own standards. But because there is competitive elements in the game, take the siege. You win or you lose. Therefore, if you're losing, the game feels crappy. And if you're winning, the game feels great. Arena stuff. If you need to progress to gold in tag team, but you can't get there because every team is full of, like mythical champs, then it feels bad to do it, especially if it's a quest line that you're trying to beat. So that's where it feels bad as a free-to-player or just someone who can't compete. Not even free-to-play is kind of irrelevant. It's like someone who just can't compete.
2023. So thank you, PLARIUM, for this. Please keep going into
So again, I would say that doing things for new accounts is not anything new. This has been a point of contention for the longer time players for several years now. There's speculation that that as far as metrics go, new accounts being created is really good for them. That's something they seem to really want. So they really put a lot of emphasis on enticing new players to join or enticing new accounts to be made. I don't know that they necessarily care that it's new players. I think they just like new accounts being made. And
I think there's a couple of things. So there's metrics on places like app stores and stuff. So being downloaded pushes you to the top of metrics, and then people spending in your game pushes you to the top of metrics, and the amount of time people spend in your game pushes you to the top, right? So if you can imagine, if you see a load of people queuing at something at a fairground or whatever, you're like, that looks interesting. That's got to be cool. Versus over here when no one's queuing. If you're looking into a restaurant, you're like, there's no one sitting at any table. And next door, you've got to wait 15 minutes. But if you wait 15 minutes, you're going to get a table. You're probably going to go and wait 15 minutes because it looks like that restaurant serves good food. Whereas the other restaurant looks like they serve crap. Yeah, it looks like they're literally piling up dung on your plate. And it's the same type of thing with any of these games, these markets. When someone goes to download a new game, they're looking at trending games. They're looking at, what should I be downloading based on what other people are already doing in the space that you're looking. And that's why it's important for someone like Raid or any company in this space to get volume. They need volume constantly to be relevant. Even though they're 5 years on, number of active players is not really it's a metric that Raid care about, but it's not really something that they detail in stuff like the app stores.
And they know that a lot of their players are making multiple accounts. I know a lot of people who have a ridiculous amount of, I've made several accounts over my time playing, but there's people that maintain, 4 and 5 accounts at a time. So that's not necessarily anything new. And yeah, again, if you happen to create a new account that's going to be free to play in some of these windows, it's really good for you. But I don't know if that's the same as saying it's really good for free to play, because there are a lot of people that have been playing this game for an extended amount of time that play it free to play, and some of these things just don't apply to them. But I absolutely agree that there are some good things going on, and this year, now that you mention it, does seem particularly impactful. Again, Wixwell, the impact of Wixwell cannot be slighted. That's a ridiculous champ to have access to in a fusion. The Loki chase is great. The Thor Fusion was pretty manageable, and Thor's apparently really good. And on one hand, you could look at my account lately and say, you're free to play and you seem to be doing everything, but I've been hoarding for months. I've been sitting on my shards for literal months.
It's kind of what I said earlier. Anyone who's free to play can do anything in the game if they make choices around when they're going to do stuff. And I've shown off tons of accounts that can do that. But it does come down to, like, how much does that help you enjoy the game? Are we playing a game to be a resource manager, or are we enjoying the game? And you can play the game either way, by the way. We've done a free-to-play series where it was like, we YOLO every shard we get. I really enjoyed that experience. I played a game where I've been like, resource manager, and I've enjoyed that experience as well, because that's more like a strategic way of playing. I know that every time I meet YST in real life, he'll go and do like a YOLO shard pool thing as with us as a group, because that's how he enjoys playing the game. My son is a YOLO player. He just literally burns every bit of resource he ever gets. But the important thing is this game is absolutely doable as a free-to-play. For anything which is not competitive PvP modes, you can beat this whole game easily. But as soon as you compare yourself to the next guy, the game feels bad as a free-to-player. And I guess, and the ability to spend and make a difference also feels bad once you get to a certain point in the game. Like if I spend, let's say I spent $1,000 today on, there's a new event actually, new event just dropped today, this thing. So this is a great example. And actually, me and Lady H did a shard pool for viewers over the weekend when there was a 10 times on June Lord Gregor. We pulled thousands of shards for people. We didn't pull a single one of that 10 times. And that's where this game, so this is an example here. You can go and buy up a whole bunch of these packs and you can try and get these champs. This is the best place in the game if you're someone who spends to try and guarantee yourself the outcome. It's the best place in the game now. But still, you have to spend an insane amount to get what you actually want. And that's the problem. Like the barrier to spend to get something specific is extremely high. And the barrier for someone who's just like, I want to spend 10 to 20 bucks a month and feel like it's really impacting me is also, I'd say that's also pretty high. You know, in other games, there's like a, I don't know, 20 bucks battle pass where you guarantee a legendary. It's a bit like the fusion system, but it's a guaranteed. And then there might be like a fusion system on top of that. So yeah, that's more, I think, where free to players or low spenders get annoyed in the game, because it feels like once you get past a certain level, and that level's probably playing for maybe 6 months, any spending feels like it has a pretty minor effect on your account. And I don't know, I mean, Raid are quite happy because, you know, they've got people that do spend, you know, insane amounts. You know, Ash has done videos with people that spend like $1 million in the game. And obviously, you know, those people are the ones that compete in like the PvP stuff and that type of thing. Anyway, interesting video from WIZ Gaming. I thought he was going to go a bit further because, you know, even if I look at stuff like Clan v Clan, free resources, loads of them as well, every 2 weeks. There's just so many things they've added into the game since I started playing that makes it way better for a free-to-player or any player. But I just think we need to start dropping the label free-to-play or not and just be like, I'm going to play this game my way, enjoy it my way, and stop being so obsessed with what everyone else is doing. That's what I think. And then I think you'll have a bigger enjoyment of the game generally. Anyway, cool video from JGigs and WIZ Gaming. I'll ping their stuff down below. But yeah, always interested to see what the conversation is about outside of my world. Yeah, have yourself a good one, guys. I'll see you soon.